Good morning, it's Nancy Jutton, and today is December 9th, Wednesday, and I'm super excited to come to you live today to answer some of your questions about the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp that's gearing up to start in just a few weeks. And the reason I'm coming on live today is actually the day that enrollments are due, and so I know there's lots and lots of questions that are occurring out there among you about the logistics and the timing and the investment and what the value is going to be and what results you might welcome and all that sort of thing. And I wanted to take the opportunity to share that with you. And I see that Carla's joining us today. So, hey, Carla, how are you? I don't know if you want to be live, but I'd love to hear your voice if you're willing to share. Your picture looks beautiful. And I'm expecting other folks to join, but what I was just mentioning, Carla, is that I'm going to do this call live to answer questions people have about what the Broadcast Brilliance Bootcamp is, why it matters, address some common questions that are coming up, and then invite some of your objections that I could possibly address right here live on the call. So if you are joining me live or by replay, either way, there is a chat function that's enabled. And so you can type in a greeting and say, hey, I'm calling in from Bellingham, I'm calling in from Newport Beach, I'm calling in from wherever I'm calling from. And one of my questions or one of my concerns or one of my fuzzy places where I don't know if this is for me, this is where I'm struggling with, can you address that question for me? I'm more than happy to do that. And before I do that, I sort of want to do a quick recap of what I've been dropping in terms of value since we started on December 2nd. On December 2nd, I delivered a live Be the Podcast Dream Guest masterclass where I took you through the 6P system that is a proven process to help you become the podcast dream guest. And I noticed that there's been well over 100 views of that video and lots of thumbs up and lots of comments about the value that I dropped and the impact that was made. I see Jerry DeVries is joining us. I'm so glad to hear that. Then the next day, 2 days later, I dropped some really important value about lead magnets and why they matter and how important it is to be able to have a call to action to extend at the end of a podcast interview so that you can turn a listener into a fan, a champion, an advocate, or perhaps a client. And then a couple days later, I actually did a bio makeover for a mover and shaker named David Newman, who is a certified speaking professional and a member of the $1 Million Club in the National Speakers Association. He was such a model to showcase the transformation that can happen when fresh expert eyes take a look at your message and suggest ways that a good message could become great. So often we get a little bit waylaid about just checking the box and moving on, and we forget to say, where would the value in having someone look at my Media One sheet and say, this could be so much better if you just did A, B, or C. That level of feedback with my expert eyes is priceless because sometimes we get caught up in the, the jargon of your industry or the acronyms of your industry, and you don't even realize that you're speaking Greek to people that don't understand what that means and what it means to them. So getting to clarity around your message in your Media One sheet is something that many people struggle with. And if that's a struggle that you have been contending with, it can be over very quickly as a new client in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp, because unlike other programs where they simply say, get it done and let's get on with it, I'm going to invite you to get it done and let me see it, because I can bet my bottom dollar that there's going to be at least 5 suggestions that I can make to transform your message into one that's door opening, door busting, and opportunity attracting. And that alone is incredible boosting to your confidence and your conviction to want to speak up in the first place. Then I dropped some value in terms of the bio blunders that many experts, authors, and speakers make and what to do instead. And I've got to tell you, it's so interesting how many people tell me, I created my website. My graphic designer told me to put my website, my About Me page on the screen. We got it up there 5 years ago and I haven't looked at it since. And the trouble with that is over the last 8 or 9 months, the whole world has changed in a very big way. And what we were doing and who we were doing it for 8 or 9 months ago may have dramatically changed. So there's always a good opportunity to take a fresh perspective of your social media profiles, your LinkedIn profile, what you say on Facebook, what you say on your website, what you say on your irresistible lead magnet opt-in page. If you're not being consistent and congruent about who you are and what you do and who you do it for, people could be very confused and not wanting to do business with you at all. And that's a huge lost opportunity. And then I also did, just yesterday, I interviewed the co-owner of Interview Connections. And the reason I interviewed her is that it's been coming up quite a bit that people are saying, I just want to hire an agency to book me on shows. And I wanted to hear from the horse's mouth what is exactly involved, not only in terms of your investment, but your time and what's involved. Because you know what, if you are already a 7-figure business owner or a 6-figure business owner, you may be wearing the CEO hat right now, and it makes absolute perfect sense for you to hire out your booking to an agency that can advocate for you and maintain your expert positioning as someone who is a CEO. But my experience in the Raise Your Voice, Make Your Impact Facebook group of 1,569 members is that there are quite a few people in the group who have not yet reached that 6 to 7-figure business owner status. They may have more time than money, and learning how to make the most of their time by making pitches on their own behalf can be one of the smartest things that they can do. And so that interview, if you haven't yet had a chance to watch it, it's a must watch, because it will give you the perspective of what it could be like to have a booking agency look after you. It could be that wish list that you put under the Christmas tree, that is something that you want to invest into. And I'll just let you know that if you were to invest in Interview Connections, and I know that the results that their clients are welcoming more than justify the investment, you're looking at a $15,500 annual commitment, which works out to monthly payments of about $1,300. Now that's maybe doable for you. If it is, I would say run and don't walk to Interview Connections /group, because you can start voyeuring into the world that they have created there for their 6 and 7-figure and maybe 8-figure business owners. And you can start belling up to the bar to see what it would be like to be a client there and put that on your wish list. But the neat thing about the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp that we're here to talk about today is that for just a little bit, just about the same amount you would pay monthly for a whole year with them, a one-time payment of between $1,500 and $1,997 gives you 6 glorious weeks with me to learn and practice and create results around your own podcast guesting journey and your own virtual speaking journey, so that those skills can be deployed on your own power for the lifetime of your successful business. Now, you're probably wondering, what kinds of results can you welcome as a member of the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp? And I want to articulate exactly the benefits that my most recent crew welcomed, because it really blew my mind, and I think it blew theirs too. I actually made a list. Our clients were getting booked on their first, their third, and their 5th podcasts. And one of them, who's with us today, Joanne Williams, was getting booked on so many podcasts that she actually came to a new level of appreciation about the power to say no to the wrong shows and the conviction to say yes to the right ones. And in a moment, I'm going to ask Joanne to speak up, but I want to share some of the other benefits that people were welcoming. In the beginning, the students were reaching for the low-hanging fruit by going to the podcast guest collaboration websites on Facebook and making connections with hosts that were looking for guests just like them. And they started getting so confident in making their approach to these shows that several of the clients actually started reaching for the bigger shows and summoning the courage to make those pitches and follow the instructions and follow up as prescribed. And just the shift in their confidence around believing in themselves to the point that they would be willing to do that was a major mindset shift and transformation. Some of the students that we started working with I noticed that they were thinking about their info products and their courses and their programs and selling those first. And we had major shifts in mindset around how much more valuable it could be to step into a premium offer and to start leading with that instead of those lower value offerings. There again, a major mindset shift that can propel success a whole lot faster. Several of the clients created a vision for their new premium program. One in particular was charging a few $100s per hour for consulting and hadn't really put together a package that would be of greater value. And by the time the 6 weeks were up, I worked with him to package a program that was of considerable more value, that he would have invested 10 times the value to buy that solution himself, which then gave him the confidence to want to start talking about it to groups of clients that are perfect to benefit from it. There's a huge mindset shift that happened. One of our other clients, Maureen, enrolled clients in her paid course and actually recouped her investment in the program within the time that we were working together. And then when it comes to ping-ponging people back into their world, some of the folks didn't have a way to do that, or maybe they had a free gift that they were schlepping together at the 11th hour, but they had no idea around the metrics around how well it was working and what they could do differently or better that could be more powerful. And when the course was over, everyone had a lead magnet they could proudly share on a podcast, and they were paying attention to their metrics. Because you know what? If your lead magnet doesn't convert from click to lead at 50% or better, you've got a problem that needs to be addressed and a block in the funnel for your leads. And that needs to be addressed in order for you to be successful with podcast guesting. And if you have been struggling to get your lead magnet created, the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp gives you the opportunity to work with me to create one and actually put it to the test so that you can measure the metrics and see how well it's working for you. What else has been happening? Some of our clients raised their prices, especially when negotiating for speaking fees. And these were for virtual speaking fees, I might add. Many of the clients were struggling with just a clever way to say and describe their program so that it sounded provocative and not so generic. And every single person who came with that problem left with a solution that had them beaming with pride. And then I think one of the other things that I'm very excited about for my students is that I believe that you have the opportunity to speak to your own tribe, your own Facebook community, your own opt-in subscriber list. You can do a teleclass, you can do a webinar, you can do a Zoom video like I'm doing right now. You can also get invited to speak on the masterminds or Facebook groups of your colleagues. And then you can also get booked on podcasts. If you work all three legs of that stool, you can have a never-ending flow of speaking opportunities where you can broadcast your brilliance, ping pong listeners back into your world who want to enroll or chat or do business, and all of a sudden you have control over your economic upside. So what I was very pleased about with the most recent session is that there's a training within it which guides you step by step how to create your signature talk. And every single client created their signature talk, practiced their signature talk, delivered it to each other, and several actually delivered their talks outside to organizations that I introduced them to. And one in particular gave a talk to PFLAG because of an introduction that I made. And now he's making those same presentations to other chapters and has a huge opportunity to spread his message that way. So when you score a gig in the right audience and do a great job, what also happens is momentum starts to build. And I will tell you that as a podcast guesting ninja myself, I've done about 45 podcasts this year since March when everything shut down. And in the beginning, I was initiating pitches and putting them out there. I was on the podcast guesting Facebook groups just like you will be. I was pitching my top 50 shows and asking to be booked. I was reaching high and getting uncomfortable about the degree to which I was reaching higher and believing in myself and that I was worthy enough to be on shows such as those. But you know what starts to happen? When you initiate and make it a well-formed habit to pitch and follow up and show up and deliver your magic, there are hundreds or thousands of people that are listening to what you are saying, because all of those hosts have embedded audiences that want to hear from great guests, and they are almost endorsing you as a colleague who they're happy to bring to their show. What I've noticed is that one good podcast interview leads to 2 or 3 or more. And that's why things are exponentiating for me. And that's the hope and the dream and the belief that I have for you when you make pitching and podcast guesting a well-formed habit, because your message gets stronger with every time you show up. You deliver your call to action in a brilliant way. You have programs and products that people actually want to enroll into. And what do you know? You have the prosperity that comes with that. And isn't that an empowering thing to welcome in this economy in particular? And so I know Joanne Williams is here live, and I'm wondering, Joanne, will you consider showing your camera and letting us see you? Because I'd love to have you speak up if you're game.
Okay. Hi there, Nancy.
Oh, there you are. So Joanne, why don't you speak up a little bit and talk about your experience as a Broadcast Your Brilliance boot camper, because it's so recent, and I think it will be helpful to people that are sitting on the fence trying to decide if this is something that they want.
Oh, love to. You know, Nancy, I'm a therapist. I'll start that off. And, you know, when you're talking one-to-one with a client in an office, it's very different than marketing yourself, is what I found. And I think one of the things I found most helpful from the group, which I'm going to continue because I need more, but Nancy helped me really understand how the written word is totally different than the spoken word. So I can say something, you know, however, but when you start to write it down for your marketing material, it's a totally different world. And I was really having a hard time doing that transition without kind of using therapeutic words. And Nancy would say, you know, how does somebody speak that? You know, how would somebody hear that? So it was really helpful to have some, like a backboard or somebody to listen and help me understand how to write that down. So that was certainly one of the, I wrote down another one. Oh, the signature talk. Oh, I struggled with that one. Nancy was really, she was very patient with me as I did this, because I would write it the way I would. And she goes, but if somebody's listening to that, you know, how would it be? And the structure of it, so somebody wants to hear it. That was like out of my league to be able to do. So that was really, really helpful and powerful. And your availability, that was the other thing I would say. I needed that feedback, because we'd send in the lead magnet, or we would send in our, you know, whichever form we were working on. And then almost immediately, you were really fast, Nancy, about giving us feedback so that we could send it back and forth a few times. So that's some of the things I really, really appreciated about the class.
Well, and what is that name of your talk that you're, you know, what is the name of your talk? Do you remember?
No.
I remember, because it's right here.
Good for you. And you know, I haven't done it live. It was something about
From Fear to Fearless, right? It was From Fear to Fearless.
Was it? I can't even remember.
I'm not going to take time to find it here, but what I noticed about you is that, and what Joanne is pointing out is that there are live action coaching calls every Wednesday, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I am available from office hours. And so during office hours, even if you live in another time zone or another part of the country, if you post in the middle of the night, on office hours, I make that 2-hour window your priority. And so if you send me a lead magnet, you send me your signature talk video, you send me your this, your that, your the other, I've assigned 2 hours of my day to make sure that everyone who's asked for help gets it. And then I post in the Facebook group my feedback, whether it's a video, a handwritten note. Sometimes I'll reach out to you personally through electronic mail if I have more to say, because I really don't like drive-by postings. I don't like when people say, great job, keep up the good work. I want to say, great job, and here's 3 things you might consider to make this even stronger, and have you thought about and did you consider? Because I think it's that kind of collaboration that builds confidence and also makes sure that each student is seen, heard, and helped in the way that he or she really needed the help. And that's where the transformation happens, because when you love your topic and you want to talk about it a lot, it helps to know that you've got a co-pilot until you're ready to fly on your own, right?
I couldn't agree more. I needed that. And you were so gentle about it too, because I felt like I started in kindergarten, you know, with these things, and you were just so patient and helpful to take me up the steps to get there. So it's wonderful.
Well,
I'm looking
thank
forward
you.
to more.
It's been a pleasure to see you step up, and you know, you have your own podcast, and something else that was a beautiful outgrowth of the group is I wanted to create a community where people would link arms and support each other. And as luck and timing and serendipity would have it, Joanne has a podcast called Anxiety Simplified. There's never been a time in our world when anxiety hasn't been a bigger issue for people around the world. And as it turned out, there were 3 members of our group who had relevant topics that they could share on her podcast. So Joanne hosted all 3 of them on her program. And then everyone that got hosted on a program learned to ask the host, just curious, are you looking for a fabulous guest who could continue this conversation? And everyone was able to link arms and reach back to a member of the group to recommend them to a show. And all of a sudden, the momentum is building for all the members. And that's very intoxicating, especially if you've been hanging out in invisibility land for way too long, right?
Absolutely. And they were so powerful, and they hadn't done podcasts before, but they were really powerful podcasts that anybody can see at anxietysimplified.net or on iTunes, but they're really good, and they're really important information too that we shared with each other.
And for people to get, I don't know if Carla or Jerry or Roy, if you have actually been on a podcast yet, but when you do the first one, it's so exciting. And then you do the 3rd one, and you do the 5th one, and you do the 10th one. And all of a sudden, the person who started the program isn't the person who's finishing the program. You've transformed into a confident messenger who can soundbite with the best of them, who can extend a call to action with the best of them, who can enroll clients into their program with the best of them, and to start thinking bigger about the programs that you're offering. Because as Joanne has so keenly faced, this pandemic and new rules and new things that have happened have created massive change in your business. Isn't that right?
Yes. Yeah, they kind of changed the rules for emotional support animals. So yeah, so you got to flow with it. So the message is going to have to change, or whatever it is going to have to change a little bit. But I'll continue to counsel and things like that, and especially with anxiety so high. But yeah, and so you've got to, and I love having Nancy kind of as my backbone a lot of times, and coach around how to do these things. It's really invaluable, and I appreciate it.
Well, and something
Nancy.
that I wanted to mention, and Joanne helps Joanne certifies emotional support animals so people can travel without anxiety. And just within the last week or so, the rules around that changed dramatically. And because I was paying attention to Joanne and her business when I saw this on World News Tonight, I captured the news clip, and I reached out to her right away and said, how will this affect your business, and what do we need to do about it? And I think that that's a really wonderful thing to know, that your champion and guide is not just thinking about herself out there, but when I'm consuming the news, I'm thinking about how it's going to be affecting my clients. And I want to be first to the base to see how I can support them, because finding the right message to position, to respond, sometimes you don't have the luxury to wait. You need to pivot very quickly so you can serve your thousands of people who are wondering what this means to them. And that was the conversation that we had. So Joanne, before I shift over to the balance of this conversation, what would you say to someone who was sitting on the fence about whether or not Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp was worth doing?
Oh boy, I don't know why you would think twice. The experience itself is wonderful, but the feedback and the exact wording help, I couldn't have done it without Nancy's help. And as you grow and change in your industry or whatever you're doing as you advance, you need more advanced techniques. And I feel like that's what you have to offer, Nancy, is just wherever you're at, you can offer that. But if you need more, you either find out or do an interview with somebody and you give us more. So you have so much to offer. I feel like we only scratched the surface of it with the first class, but I think it's invaluable for
Well, and
anybody
you are actually going to continue on for the whole year, because that's what new folks are joining for 6 weeks. And what I'll just tempt you with is you join for 6 weeks, but then when you love it and you want to continue indefinitely, I have a renewal program that's very affordable, and it's a no-brainer yes decision. And that gives you access to a world-class mentor and guide who can be your backbone when you need it. Because how I'm different than some other coaches or mentors that you might find out there is many of them require a 1-year commitment in the tens or 30 or 40 or $50,000 to have access to someone like me. And what about giving that kind of world-class support to mere mortals who have every worthiness of needing that, but may not be able to invest at that level? And so I think that's sort of an interesting place for me to insert myself, because a 6-week journey with me packs so much value, and I want to get into that. So Joanne, thank you so much for chiming in.
Yes,
And I want to address
always.
some of the big value that's waiting, and some of the questions that are coming up. And I would say, Carla and Jerry and Roy, if you have questions or comments, want to speak up, just raise your hand, post a comment in the chat, and we'll definitely make sure you are seen, heard, and addressed. So in terms of the kinds of results that you can welcome, I've already talked about that, and Joanne has chimed in so beautifully, and I'm so grateful. How can you benefit most on a practical level? Every Wednesday, starting on January 13th at 9 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to have a 2-hour action coaching call. And the action coaching call is all about delivering the promise for that particular week. So right now, I'm getting a few messages chiming in, so forgive me for turning my head. Everyone that wants a place in the hot seat in that 2-hour window will take their place in the hot seat. And if you want to get help with your media one sheet, your 50-word bio, your pitch that you're writing to a top show, if you need help with your interview technique, if you need help with your technology, whatever it is, I will answer the question, go deep dive to support you in the best way that I know how. And because everyone in the course is dealing with the same kinds of issues, when you're in the hot seat, chances are everyone else who's listening has the same issue. So you'll be seen, heard, and helped, and the examples will be flying, and you will probably want to be listening back to the recording, because the actual words that I will serve up during these calls are words that you're going to want to use, because messaging magic is my core genius. And sometimes I find the words so easily that you can't find with a flashlight and a decoder ring. It accelerates your path to success. We have live office hours on Tuesday and Thursday, and the Tuesday office hours are from 9 to 11. And on Thursday, they're from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. So that means that people on different coasts can chime in. But one of the things that I want you to consider about these live office hours, there's going to be a Zoom link just like what we're doing right now. And I'll be there waiting for you to chime in, to ask for help, ask for feedback, strategize about your premium program, work with you on your signature talk, whatever it is you want to work on. And if for some reason you don't need to take advantage of my expertise during office hours, my invitation to you is to calendar that time in your calendar so that you can make pitching yourself a well-formed habit during this 6-week period. Because when you use those hours on your calendar specifically to make podcast guesting your primary visibility strategy, you will get booked. You will get on shows. You will deliver your message. You will ping pong people back into your world, and you will profit, but only if you practice. What is the value of the community, the accountability, and the messaging support? It's truly priceless. If you are doing this on your own, and believe me, I know that I'm such a generous teacher that there's much that I share that during the live calls, during our Facebook community right here in our main Facebook in our free group, I deliver so much value there that I know people are practicing what they're learning without making an investment at all. But the value of the community and the accountability is that when someone comes on and says, this week I got booked on 5 shows and I had this success, it forces you to decide to stop dabbling and to get serious about doing, because there's sort of this implied competition that sort of starts to feel like, gosh, if she's getting that many shows and if she's getting that many new enrollments, if she's getting that many new opportunities, what's stopping me from welcoming the same or better result? And then because the community links arms and supports each other, when she opens a door for you, you open a door for her, and vice versa. And all of a sudden, the rising tide lifts all the boats. You're not dabbling on the side. You're doing like it really matters, because it does. In terms of the logistics, how does it work? As I said, we're going to do a live call every Wednesday, and we're going to do office hours by Zoom Tuesdays and Thursdays. And all the calls will be recorded, and all the replays will be posted in our very own Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. So if you're traveling, if you're on a different coast or a different time zone, you can listen in to the call, get the value, and keep making progress along your own journey. When do we start? We start on January 13th, Wednesday, but here's the cool thing. Today's cart close day, today's the day to make a decision, December 9th, Wednesday at midnight Pacific. As soon as you commit to joining me in the Broadcast Your Brilliance program, I'm going to send you Podcast Dream Guest Mastery, the course. And that gives you the opportunity between now and January 13th to create your media one sheet, make your bio brilliant, figure out what your topics are going to be, start prioritizing the shows that you would be excited to contribute to, and get all that pre-work done in time for our January 13th live call, because then we'll start the brand new year with the brand new you, and I will help you dial in those materials so that we can just hit the ground running. And I will also be active in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp group over the holiday window. So if you want to type in or a question or submit a draft for my approval or my review, or you want to answer to a question, I'll be there. So if you're that overachieving type that wants to jump in right away, because I'm going to provide you with so much juicy goodness that you're going to be able to engage and get so excited about it that when we start in January, you're going to be cooking with gas. And so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to share my screen, because I want to specifically and terrifically outline the invitation that I've made so that you can see it and know what the fuss is about. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to share the screen, and I believe that that's, let's see, slideshow, review, slideshow from the beginning. There you go. And now I'm going to show you presenter view so you can see the reviews. Awesome. Okay, so we've already heard from Joanne about, did she get what she came for? What was her experience, and were her expectations met or exceeded? And you could tell that there was a yes, yes, yes in every way, because she's renewing. But Barbara Ingracia, when given the chance to give me a 5-star review, gave me a 10-star review. She was so happy, and she's decided to renew. And Maureen Cures of Radiant Morning said that working with me in the Broadcast Your Brilliance program was the best investment of time and money she made this year. She was able to buff up her boring bio, complete her media one sheet, create her signature talk, get booked on podcasts, and lock and load to be a great podcast guest. And she also got to return on her investment with paid enrollments into her course. And she says a lot of lovely things about me. And so too does Jack Ori. And so too does Joanne Williams, who we've already heard from. And so I want to walk you through what elements are included in the Broadcast Your Brilliance program so you can say yes with confidence. And I also want to say that Never ever before have we realized that there's some things in our life that we can't control, and yet there are outcomes that we can welcome. The things that we cannot control is when a vaccine is released for COVID-19, when the kids can go back to school, when technology crashes at the worst possible time, the weather, when life hits the fan in an unexpected way, or when some other platform kicks you off and you can't get back in. These things can be maddening, but there are things that you can control, like your success habits, including how often you show up virtually to speak and share your message so you can touch and transform more lives. You can control and influence the presence and passion you bring to your live trainings and how you serve with heart, smarts, and conviction. You can control when and how often you lead trainings in your own private Facebook group and everywhere else that you can speak your truth and your message to inspire people to follow your lead. You can influence how well you create an irresistible lead magnet, and you can pay attention to the metrics and keep on testing to make sure you get one that actually reliably converts from a click to a lead. You can influence how quickly and how often you create meaningful content that can serve your community. And of course, you can control and influence your mindset and your intentions to rise from any challenge. And I love that there's so many things we can control in a time in our lives when maybe we felt a little bit out of control. You can influence the people that you choose to spend time with, like when you join in a powerful community like the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. The new relationships that you foster with people who are your peers and influencers who have the doors that they can swing wide open to bring your expertise far and wide. You can influence the degree to which your Facebook members engage and participate. And you can monitor and track your metrics and your conversion rates to see the progress you're making every day and how often you engage as a go-giver who gives more to others and has that be your legacy alive right now. And the belief in yourself to make the impact that you can make, and the desire to not waste a moment longer in bringing that to life. You can influence that starting right now without even leaving your house. I want you to be the podcast dream guest who has lots and lots of interviews and speaking opportunities. And when you're a student in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp, you will shorten your learning curve. I will show you uncommon strategies to help you advance. And I will, most importantly, shift your thinking to inspire powerful action that will change everything in your business for the better. I have pitched my own expertise and secured over 40 podcast guesting spots this year since everything shut down in March. I was a publicist for big name companies for many years. Nobody knows how to pitch a story the media can't resist better than I can. And if that's not your genius, well, welcome to Broadcast Your Brilliance, because I will serve it up for you in spades when you say, what could be a pitch I could make to this show? And I will suggest to you a way that you can do that, because my skills in this arena are very well honed, and that is an advantage to you. So how much do you want to speak up, share your message, influence and impact your upside, and do so without leaving home? And is 2021 going to be your year to get this party started? Because I want to dare you to step up. I want you to make a big D decision to step up and decide that this is your time, and to ask to be on the big shows, and to get outside your comfort zone, and to keep on pitching and make it a well-formed habit, because when you keep on pitching, you will get better every time, and your batting average will improve, and then you will be running all the bases and inviting all the wonderful outcomes that come from people who are in inspired action every day. And I want you to take action every day, because if you sit on the sidelines, nothing happens. And that is not an option. I want you to get ready for the big opportunities so you can be the speaker who gets booked and gets to share your message and gets to welcome the other wonderful outcomes that can often happen when the microphone goes silent. And that means it's time to stop winging it and to get ready to play big and to start doing it as soon as possible, and to believe and behave as if the result was already happening. I'll tell you something. Every single day I say to myself, my work deserves, my message, my work deserves a much wider audience. It's the first thing I say when I wake up in the morning. It's the last thing I think about when I go to bed. And what do you know? Yesterday I was on a top 5 podcast on iTunes with David Newman. And what do you know? As a member of Toastmasters, I've been invited for a prestigious Toastmaster event where they've asked me to MC. And what do you know? I got invited to speak to the professional development group in Toastmasters as a keynote speaker in January. I wake up every day believing and behaving as if opportunities will come my way. Just this week, one of my colleagues who I met earlier this year said she was starting a podcast and would be thrilled to have me to speak up about how to make press releases pay off for building the buzz. What did I say? I said yes. Another person asked me to do another show and I was double booked and I couldn't do it. Just imagine when these are your outcomes, the momentum is in force and you are welcoming invitations beyond which you had no idea how good they could be. And you're showing up like a rock star to deliver the message and people are coming to you to say, can you contribute to our event, our association event, whatever it is. It's all possible, but you got to start believing and behaving as if it's true right now, which means you got to get going. What I know to be true after having done this for so long, I've been in business since 2001 and I have seen so much, but there are many people that have a fuzzy niche and a boring bio and they have a missing path to the cash. Just yesterday, I was talking to a periodontist who's an expert in helping people keep their natural teeth and their implants despite some of the obstacles that can cross their path. And I said to her, when you deliver this message to this audience on this hot podcast, do you have a way to enroll people into your consulting services? And she said to me, I have a general idea, but nothing specific. And my advice to her was, write down that program in specific, terrific detail so that you would invest 10 times the value to get the same benefit. Because when you have that prepared, then when someone says, how can I work with you? You're able to show that to them. And that can be an easy yes for them. You'll make your difference for that client. They will exchange their valuable investment in tuition with you and everyone will win. Don't wing it. Have a specific, amazing program ready to share. Sometimes people's message and approach are lackluster and not blockbuster or too casual or too carefree. That never pays off. And sometimes people just show up for interviews without any preparation. And that's one of the biggest mistakes of all, because if you haven't listened to or watched the show or paid attention to the host to appreciate what other opportunities could take shape when the microphone goes silent, you're missing perhaps the biggest opportunities of all from podcast guesting. And of course, many people suffer from not enough leads, speaking gigs, clients, or cash. And I don't want that for you. So the solution is Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. Now, earlier in the call, I said that if you want to get booked on podcasts, you can go ahead and hire a booking agency and invest $15,000 a year for them to book shows for you. And that's great if you can square away $15,000. But for mere mortals that may not yet be ready to step up, Broadcast Your Brilliance is an answer to a prayer. In a 6-week window, you will show up like a pro, you will ask for and get the gigs, and you will rock the virtual stages you take all the way to the bank. The best part, the juiciest part of this training is the level of personal mentoring you'll get from me in all the ways that you need it so that you can benefit from the live action calls. I take a no client left behind philosophy. You will own a slice of my heart and I will own a slice of yours. I will pay attention to you and see, hear, and celebrate you and help you and champion you in a way that will be uncommon if you have been in other group programs. What are we going to cover? Week 1, we're going to review, upgrade, and finish your holiday homework from Podcast Dream Guest Mastery. Week 2, we're going to create systems for regular bookings as you get consistent about being in the practice of asking for the gigs. Week 3, I'm going to teach you how to pitch like it counts, because it does. Week number 4, you're going to create your 20-minute talk so you can speak more anytime, anywhere, and get people back into your world. Week 5, we're going to refine and practice your delivery while talking about tech requirements that you need to anticipate like a pro. And then we'll wrap it all up in week 6 to see what big wins have emerged and plan your next steps. And your next step could be continuing in the Broadcast Your Brilliance bootcamp for as long as the year continues at a modest renewal rate, or you may be ready to step up to the Raise Your Voice, Make Your Impact Inner Circle, and that would be something exciting for you to consider. And I'm more than happy to tell you about that when the time comes. But you will get 6 weeks of accountability, action taking, and expert support. You will get ready for opportunity before it knocks. You will get the niche guidance, the sizzling speaker sheet training, and the bio transformations that have been eluding you up until now. You will get the lead magnet creation and the message transformation you need to have metrics that measure in the ways that matter. And you'll get powerful pitching to get booked. And of course, if you want to get some interview training about making the most of every moment behind the microphone, you can count on me for that as well. So let me dial it in exactly what you get. If you've been struggling naming and claiming your profitable niche, you're going to get a profitable niche fast start training with my colleague, Tommy Wolf, the top 6 business coach. This will help you dial in who your ideal client needs to be, not only for your business, but for podcasting and everything that you do. It's something you can take in during the holiday window and ask me if you've named and claimed the right niche that you are excited about, because one of my hallmark messages about niching is we need to stop trying to make not our people our people. And when people are knocking at your door, you should be welcoming them with open arms and looking forward to working with them in every possible way. And the more you name and claim your profitable niche audience, the better off you're going to be in every way in your business. When you say yes today, I'm going to ship to you right away the digital training called Podcast Dream Guest Mastery, where you're going to walk through 5 videos, 5 short homework assignments, and come to the first call with your media one sheet. I call it your sloppy first copy, but you're going to have all the sloppy first copies created so that I can refine them to be spectacular door opening tools as soon as the first call. I'm also going to ship to your doorstep your very own copy of the Bye Bye Boring Bio 2020 workbook. And this will arrive within 3 to 5 days, and it will not only help you make all your bios brilliant everywhere they show up, but there's 11 videos, 2 audios, and powerful podcast guesting etiquette and strategy within the pages of this powerful workbook that will be game-changing and eye-opening for you. And I promise you, you will get so much value. It'll become an eminently valuable element of your business success library forever. Chris Flett, who's the CEO of Ghost CEO, called it the best tool of 2020, and he advocated to all 900 of his business coaches and all of their clients that this is what they should buy this year if they buy no other tool. This makes me so proud. I will be sharing with you a way for you to get booked on live stages when they come back, because you're going to get the sizzling speaker sheet guided training. And I'm also going to share with you your signature talk cheat sheet and simple training to help you create the structure for your talk so that you can reliably convert every time you take the stage. So what happens for you? What's different about this? There's no transactions here. You will not get lost in the crowd, because this is an intimate community of 20 or fewer speakers, experts, and authors who want to be seen, heard, and helped. It's almost like private coaching in an intimate community. You'll be amazed at the intimacy that we establish as we get to know each other quickly. You will feel seen, heard, and helped, and championed too. And when you succeed, we will celebrate you, and that will buoy your confidence to keep the momentum going. Clients, I've been teaching this for over 8 years now, and clients always praise the training and the wisdom that I share. Here, Joy Evans is saying she booked her 2nd gig for the month by being ready when opportunity knocks. If you've been winging it, it doesn't pay off. But when someone says, can you give a talk on Wednesday at this time, and you have your speaker kit ready to go and you have your talk ready prepared and you are confident in your message, you can say, yes, absolutely. Let's talk about it. Let's make it happen. But if you're not ready, you miss out. And those who are earlier in their journey, you can leap forward over other people far more famous and less prepared simply by being a joy to work with in every way. I offer 100% satisfaction guarantee. You will earn return on investment on your training with the first client you enroll or the first speaking gig you secure. So let's assign some values to all these things so you know what you're getting. There's going to be coaching, content, and community, and all of these useful tools, Bye Bye Boring Bio, Podcast Dream Guest Mastery, and Niche Secrets delivering to you instantly. You'll get that private mentoring from me that is valued at $4,500. You will get these additional trainings to help fill gaps in your tool chest so that your niche is nailed, your message is attractive, and you can get booked on speaking bigger stages because your speaker sheet is dialed in and ready to go. All the value that is summed up that I've just talked about is $5,200 in value. And it's not the price you're going to pay, that's the value. The logistics are pretty simple. We're going to meet 6 consecutive Wednesdays from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'm going to offer feedback in the Facebook group 4 days a week. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to do office hours by Zoom, where you can either use that time to be pitching and getting my help with that, or you can take a place in a hot seat and I'll help you with whatever is causing you a pause in your progress. All the calls are recorded and posted in the Facebook group, so even if you're on a different time zone, you can still benefit. So what is the big benefit of all for this whole thing that we've put together here is for you to take control over your destiny, because when you're ready for opportunity before it knocks, you can speak as often as you like and enroll as many clients as you desire. I want to paint the picture that you can jump in and start taking advantage of opportunities instead of overstaying your welcome in the Getting Ready to Get Ready Club. So I'd like you to join us, because when you get outside of your comfort zone and you commit to this, you will be a much different person than when you started or when you were hesitating or sitting on the fence. And because I know that there are some gaps in your skill set that may have you wondering if this is for you, I want to go ahead and fill those gaps for you. I have done some VIP interviews with world-class experts to help bridge some of those gaps. There's step-by-step training on how to create your signature talk. You can listen to this call anytime, anywhere, wherever you are in the world, and follow the yellow brick road to create yours, so that when we get on a live call, I can watch your talk, you can send me your script, and we can make it better. If you've not yet mastered the high ticket sales conversation, I did an interview with a world-class expert to show you how you can, so you can make the leap between selling info products and low price programs or courses into high ticket offerings. And if you want to make your first $5,000 from your first webinar, I have an interview about how you can do that as well. And if your irresistible lead magnet wants to be a quiz to help people diagnose their own problem and come up with a way to engage and enroll and discuss how to solve it, I have an interview about how an ideal client enroller quiz could be the perfect solution that you've been looking for. These hopefully address some of the objections you might have about missing pieces in your skill set that you've been wanting to master but haven't figured out how to do that. And now they're all right here for you to consume anytime, anywhere. I also want to share with you interviews that I did with top meeting planners who book speakers for their associations, live stages, and conferences, because they're going to share the best approaches that they've received, and they're also going to talk about what not to do. And I think when we hear from the mouths of people who have been in the position to make those decisions, what not to do, that's how we get the lesson. So these are also going to be delivered to you. Now there's 2 ways to go with the Broadcast Your Brilliance. You can go VIP, and when you do that, you get everything we've already talked about, and you get to do an interview with me on my YouTube channel, where we will be broadcasting your brilliance and positioning you like a rock star so that you have that performance to showcase any way that you like for as long as you like. If you have watched me interview experts before, I'm an incredibly gracious expert host, and I will make you look like a rock star. And this will be an interview that you are going to proudly share with influencers who are going to want to have you on their programs too. So the Go VIP option is the first option. And if you should decide to do that, you're getting almost $8,000 in value for your wise investment of $19.97. And if you choose to exclude that interview from your package, that's the standard package, you can get all the benefits that I've just described for $14.97. And that's almost just a little over $7,000 in value. I always try to put as much value into my programs as possible to exceed your expectations for value, bridging gaps, covering objections, so that when you make this wise investment, you can say to yourself, I know I'm getting value. I know Nancy's got my back. She's going to be my co-pilot. Can I wisely invest this modest amount to make pitching, preparing, and sharing your message a well-formed habit so that you can recoup your investment very quickly and have these skills under your own power for the rest of your life? I tell you something, this is about the monthly fee you would pay to have a podcast booking agency booking for you, but you're going to pay that month after month after month. And that's great if you're ready for that. But if you're not ready for that, this is a 6-week intensive journey we take to get you in the best shape of your life to be the podcast dream guest top host. Can't wait to book so that you can ping pong those people back into your world and do more business. And I know that when you take this as seriously as I do, you will get the results that you came for and more. And the person who started the program will not be the person who graduates. You'll be thinking bigger. You'll be selling premium programs. You will be inviting opportunities beyond which you had no idea they could be, and you'll be stepping into your true potential. And that is the transformation that is possible when you simply say yes today. How will your business be different and better? You're going to own your expertise. You're going to believe these mantras that your work deserves a much wider audience and your business deserves and is worthy of sales beyond expectations. You will own it. You will welcome those results, and that confidence will open up doors for you that you didn't even know how great they could be. You will be speaking more and earning more, and that is an answer to a prayer for speakers who have been sitting on their hands wondering what to do during a pandemic. There's clearly plenty to do during a pandemic, and if you speak up to more of the right people, you can welcome the rewards. And if you have been sitting on your hands and feeling small and insignificant and wishing that things could be different, if you approach this training with that mindset of transformation at the highest level, you will transform from ugly duckling to beautiful swan, and you will start partnering with people of influence who can take your expertise far and wide and change everything for you if you just get in the game. So I would like you to say yes today, because today's the last day, Wednesday, December 9th at midnight Pacific. The cart is closing. So what do? If you are lucky to have a second browser, you can go to getknowngetpaid.com/BYB and say yes to the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. You just simply go to that link and know that you are making a very wise investment in your success. Place your order and simply decide if you want to go VIP or if you want to go standard. If you want to go standard, that's great. And if you decide during the 6 weeks that you want to add that interview later, I'm more than happy to accommodate that request at the same price. So if that makes it easier for you to say yes to do $14.97, go ahead and do that. And then just say to me, as you get into this and your confidence grows, you say, you know what, I'm going to add that interview to my package because I really want to have the benefit of someone like you interviewing me, positioning me as an expert, and guiding my potential clients through a powerful conversation that will cause them to ping pong into my world. And when you're ready to do that, you can be ready to do that. The beautiful thing is that as soon as you enroll, you're going to get Podcast Dream Guest Mastery, so you can take each of those P homework assignments from my 6P system. Spend an hour a day during the holiday break watching the videos and doing the homework, watching the videos and doing the homework. It's bite-sized homework instead of drinking from a fire hose. I think you're going to like that. And that's the benefit of having 6 weeks together. You've got 6 weeks to step into this, 6 weeks to embrace it, 6 weeks to take action on it. And when you do, you'll get the outcome that you came for, because anything less simply isn't good enough, because my own success depends on yours, and anything less is just not going to be satisfying for me. And I know it won't be satisfying for you either. So approach this all in. Make podcast guesting your primary visibility strategy. Speak up as often as you can with confidence and skill and personality. And let's see what kind of beautiful results can happen for you. So again, if you go VIP, it's $19.97, and you will get Podcast Dream Guest Mastery, plus your hard copy of Bye Bye Boring Bio 2020. You will also get the Speaking Gig Profitability Pack, the Inside Success Track Insights, and that interview with me. And if you go standard, it's everything that I just talked about with the interview left alone. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention 3 bonuses that you will get when you sign up right now. It has to happen today, okay? But I was fortunate enough to write chapters for 2 different books: Speak More, Marketing Strategies to Get More Speaking Business, and The World's Greatest Speakers, Insider Secrets on How to Engage and Move Your Audience to Action. When you say yes, these books will ship their way to you right away. So these are additional points of inspiration to guide you to speak more, learning from the best speakers in the National Speakers Association and some of the best speakers from Toastmasters and other fine organizations. And boy, the backstory on how I got included in these books is just a case study in how to use your influence for good. And next time we meet, maybe I'll tell you how all that works. And then I have one other bonus for you that is particularly practical and really relevant to getting ready for opportunity before it knocks. If you know me personally, you know that the last 2 years, life hit the fan for me and my family in a whole lot of ways that were quite derailing. My husband had a mini stroke. My mother got dementia and subsequently died. Our home was burglarized. Friends of mine had death, disability, and divorce. These kinds of things were just hurts to my heart. And what my husband and I did is we created a program called the Life Goes On System for Personal Financial Information Organization to help families around the country get ready for real life before it hits the fan. And in the first 2 years of this side hustle that I created, we licensed our content to financial advisors and real estate professionals across the country. We sold it to hundreds and hundreds of families, and we got to really create a profound and practical difference for families who are suffering profound and sudden losses and not being able to find their investment accounts or whatever it is. So when you say yes today, not only are you going to get Speak More and the World's Greatest Speakers and your copy of Bye Bye Boring Bio winging its way to your doorstep, real books you can keep forever, but you're going to get the digital version of the Life Goes On roadmap system that you can share with your family this holiday season and get everybody on the same page about where your investment accounts are, where your insurance is, where your passport lives, what your husband's medications are just in case he has a stroke. If you take the time to figure out this kind of thing, when life hits the fan, you will have a much smoother journey recovering from whatever life served up. And I got to tell you that the big visions that you have for your life and your business, we all have vision boards of how much money we're going to make and how many lives we're going to touch and transform and all the good work we're going to do to make our legacy alive today. But I believe, and from my personal experience, it's when life hits the fan, that's what derails some of our biggest plans. So if you get ready for real life before real life hits the fan, whatever your plans are to broadcast your brilliance will be able to stay in the same lane and you'll be able to grow and serve. So that's a $97 value. It's priceless when you use it to your advantage. And I encourage you to get your family together to get this game complete, because we don't take a doom and gloom approach. We actually have a game board you can play to become an I'm ready for anything road tripper who's ready for anything. And I think you'll find it very empowering. So that is what I have to offer to you today. And so I would gladly be delighted and thrilled to have the privilege to work with you as a new student in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. And I just want you to say yes. And so on your screen, you can see the link you need to visit if you should be so inspired to join me and say yes right now. And if you have questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. Okay, so let's see. Jerry says, very inspiring and generous, impressive. I'm grateful to have been in this session. Currently, I'm financially challenged to cover my basic expenses. I know you will understand. Would love to do it now, however, we'll need to wait. Thank you for having me. Definitely in the future. I have a lot to learn and valuable things to say. Well, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate your transparency there. You know, 2020 has been the year that we're all going to remember as one that's challenged us in all kinds of ways. And I know for myself, when it happened, I said to myself, after all the things that I've had derail my path, this is the last thing I'm going to allow to take me down. And what I will say to you is, yes, I had a 2-year derailment and I wasn't making money to the level that I have prior earned. And I had some shame and blame that I was assigning to myself for having missed the resilience to bounce back as quickly as perhaps others might have. But you know what? When I made a decision that COVID-19 wasn't going to take me down, it changed everything. In September, you know, over the summer, I wrote a book. It became an Amazon #1 bestseller. In September, I did the 5-day podcast Dream Guest Challenge. For the very first time, I created a mid-5-figure revenue rush for my business. I subsequently got booked on all these podcasts, and here I am coming to you with a level of confidence and care and just commitment and conviction to serve at my highest level. And so sometimes we just have to dig in and say, I've got to invest in myself to get beyond whatever life has served up. And I hope that you will. And I hope that you will consider me the person that you will gladly invest into so that you can have that support every step of the way. So Carla or anyone else who's here, do you have anything you want to ask me before, if there's any objection that I didn't address, or if there's any questions coming up for you that could help you make a yes decision? I'm here to answer your questions. You can either raise your hand or unmute yourself. I'm more than happy to talk to you live. That's the beauty of being live in a call like this. So Carla, let's see, going once, going twice. Carla says, I so respect you telling your journey. I do consider you to be an expert in how to show up and be the best guest ever. Well, thank you. I so appreciate that. And I hope that you'll jump in, because you know what? I think we all get to decide what our finest hour is going to be. And this is mine. I just love teaching this content. When I was a publicist for many years, I owned my own publicity agency, and I worked with Roger Staubach and other big names. And it was really fun. And then the recession happened and it made everything difficult. But what I've discovered is that sometimes these challenges in life, they end up becoming a great blessing, because I feel like since the world went virtual, my publicity skills have never been more relevant. And since podcast guesting has escalated to a level of power and impact that none of us could have ever anticipated, these publicity skills and pitching skills that I have and these speaking skills that I have can be more of service now than ever before. So we're all long distance runners in our own way. And I'm better for every dip in the road that has crossed my path, because my level of conviction to serve at the highest level is never been stronger. I truly believe my finest hour is still ahead. And I'm looking forward to having a jewel box of amazing clients in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp who can benefit from the love, support, championship, messaging magic, and velvet boot in the behind that I will apply lovingly to make sure that everyone shows up, gets the value that they came for, and considers it the very best investment they've ever made in their business. Every day I see people on Facebook saying, I just got booked on a podcast, and then I'll say, bravo, congratulations. And they say, it was because of what I learned from you that I was able to do that with confidence. So I know that I'm making a difference. Someone says here, Joanne says, I had fears to pay for this course too. I couldn't have moved to the next level without Nancy's help. You can make more money with Nancy's help. Very, very good. Well, that's what I'm hoping for, people. Sometimes you have to get uncomfortable, and that comfort zone of, if I don't spend money, I don't have to worry about it and I'll be fine. But being fine is not the same as being spectacular. Being fine isn't the same as being confident, convicted, and relentless in the pursuit of the lives that you want to touch and transform with your specific gifts in only the way that you know how to deploy them. And if we've learned anything from COVID-19, it's that tomorrow is not a promise. We don't have the luxury of knowing that we have the rest of our lives indefinitely to do what it is that we're here to do. Some of us are getting on in years, whatever. We don't have time to waste. So if you are called to work with me in the Broadcast Your Brilliance program, I can't wait to welcome you with open arms. Today, December 9th at 12 o'clock a.m. Pacific, the cart is closing. I hope that when the cart closes that your name is among the new students who are part of the course. And whether there's 5 people in the course or 20 people in the course, you'll all get the value that I promise. And when you bring your level of conviction and hard work to it, you will get what you expect and more, because anything less simply isn't good enough. So that's all I have for you. Please visit getknowngetpaid.com/BYB and become the newest Broadcast Your Brilliance boot camper to wave the flag for broadcasting your brilliance and making your impact. Carla says, I will share this with some key folks and let them know that the deadline is today. Folks that are growing their speaking skills and prepping for 2021. I'm ramping up to start a podcast. Success never happens in our comfort zone. Thanks for this session, Nancy. Well, thank you, Carla, for being on the journey with me all these years. I remember you, and it's so nice to see you, and you look beautiful. Love the red hair. So that's what I've got for you today. I will be available by phone, and I guess I'll type that in too. 425-641-5214. That's my phone number, and this is my email address. And if you feel called to telephone me to talk about your specific situation and how we can work with that, give me a call. My phone is right here. I answer my own phone. And if you get a busy signal, leave a message and I'll call you back. I don't have a big, huge team over here, and that's by design because I prefer a simple approach. But I take a very personal approach. And if it is that the Broadcast Your Brilliance, for whatever reason, isn't your perfect fit, and you want to talk to me about what the Raise Your Voice, Make Your Impact inner circle is all about, well, then reach out and ask me about that, because we have a jewel box of movers and shakers joining that program. And I know that the impact we're going to make there is going to be really, really exciting. So that is all I have for you for today. So thank you so much for being with me today. And thank you, Joanne, for your advocacy and championship. I'm excited to continue the journey with you and with Jack and with Maureen and with Barbara and the others who have joined. And I know that the best is yet to come, because anything less, not good enough, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Can't wait.
Thank
And
you.
everybody should join.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, thanks again.
Bye,
And
everybody.
bye for now.